All right, letting the song play out entirely. The Cornbread Man, Dave in the AM here at the Wolf Nation Network. It's the Cornbread Man morning show around 6:03 a.m. Sorry for a little bit of crazy schedules here lately. We've had a lot going on. I've been working some crazy hours at work due to necessity of job, and we just had storms in our area that have really wreaked havoc with the Wi-Fi for over a week, really, maybe almost 2 weeks. Think we're getting back to normal? Not sure. So we got knocked off of a live the other night. We had a potential for 70-mile-an-hour winds in our area, plus, and we fortunately didn't get it really bad studio, but it knocked me and Dean off of a live show. And then we recorded, and it was draggy, but we shut down everything but just the recording itself with our and we haven't posted this one yet. Our friend in Kansas City who does radio racing announcing and also has a podcast that he does once a week, records this, so he understands. And he was right in the middle of it. We even paused it once to let Dean get out and home because we didn't know what might happen as he was leaving. He lives a few miles away, but the storm was hitting really hard and heavy, pouring down rain. I don't know about lightning, but wind and rain were really, really bad. So anyway, we've got we're getting back on track. Really working hard to get the schedule back to where it should be. We have added shows like First Light. We are doing the TikTok lives now on Thursday. We'll be doing more of those, and also we have a new show will be debuting. It's probably going to be, it might be before the end of this week. We're trying to work that out. And we have a new racing show, believe it or not. It's going to be tri-state racing. It's going to focus on just the three states of Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and the tracks that are in range of us specifically. But we'll take in any of those. But we want to, with the Dirt Report, we'll go anywhere. We'll go to Canada. We'll go across the world. But with this one, we're going to focus just on the local tracks, the winners. We have a relationship with many of them, and building that all the time. And we wanted to focus on those tracks and hopefully build energy here in this area that we might even get a dirt track back in our town, which we so desperately need. We really do. And so that was something we really wanted to work on. But anyway, on this June 25th, now, boy, the month is almost over. July 4th is almost here. The big celebrations, America 250. Looking forward to seeing what's going on and what we're going to get out of that. I hope America needs celebration. We need celebration. It's been there's been a lot going on the last for years, but in the last few months, it'd be good celebration to come out. They're putting fencing around yesterday. The reflecting pole, the Lincoln reflecting pole. We've got Antifa terrorists that are doing harm. They found the lab. I don't know if you saw that. They found the lab where they were putting the chemicals together, growing their own algae, all this stuff that they could do to disrupt paint. And we're going to have to step it up. I mean, we have people, and just think, these are homegrown terrorists. We can't blame this on Iran or China or anywhere else, although those agents are here. We got our own homegrown talent. And we got the home team, so to speak, that's working against us. And we know that and have been for some time, but we got to step it up even more. And I think they are. I really think they are. But first of all, let's go to our verse of the day. Yes, always do that. Love this verse. Exodus 20:3. Love the picture. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Exodus 20, verse number 3. I love that. What a beautiful picture. Pardon me. But that is awesome. Love that. Love the Lord. We have been so blessed recently by some folks that we have been friended by and folks that we've been introduced to in TikTok world land that are just awesome people. They love the Lord, and it's been really a blessing for me. It really, really has. And some of them that are doing devotionals and stuff, and we do some of that as well with ours. We talk about the Lord and church and music and life and all those things. So we're all trying to encourage each other, and people that are recovering. I just ordered a book from one yesterday. Was in a live, and she had wrote a book, and I just felt like on the spot, I need to read this book. And Lord knows I've got plenty of books I'm reading on. Some I even cracked the first page on. But I think this one's going to jump in front of all the books that I'm reading. And when I do, I'm hoping I can maybe get a guest out of her to share her story. That's what we do here. We share the other people's story. It's not about me. It's not about the network. It's not about all the good and great things we got going on and the team we have. It's the people's story. And we have, people that are coming to tell their story. Tonight, we're going to have one of those stories. If you haven't seen our advertising for that we put out last night, we have a J6er that's going to be in tonight at 6. Our normal Cornbread Nation show will become, it won't be called Cornbread Nation. It's going to be called something else. It probably will be called PNN News or something like that. We will title it different. Was contacted by this patriot. It's an amazing story. You can go out when you hear his name. It's very much a lot of information out there. I don't want to get too deep into it because I want him to share in his foundation as well. He was pardoned by the president. So this gives us a nice connection into that world where we've been sort of outsiders looking in and praying for and being encouraged by others. But this brother, he came to us. And, I think that's the blessing of what we have here at Wolf Nation Network. We have now been around for over 2 years. And I really believe that, if nothing else, that message has really resonated with people. And I think they feel that off of us, that we are safe. We're not going to embarrass anybody. I've been ripped for not being hardcore with some guests that come on. She's crazy or he's crazy or they didn't. It's a handful, but I'm not. This is not shock broadcasting here. We're not bringing them on to scream and holler at them or nothing like that. You take it. You take the information for it's worth. We'll ask some questions. We're not here to put them to the wall. We want them to tell their story. It's their story. It's not mine. If we ask the question, they're answered. I'm not going to call them a liar. I'm going to say, well, that's not true. It's their story. We might say some people say this or others have said that. We're just presenting the information. And that's just not who we are. It's telling of the story from their perspective. You can agree with it or not agree with it. And everybody that's went away has told us that it was a great experience, that they would be more than willing to do it again at some point. Some have done that. And again, we're not here. That's not what we're not trying to dig in and always finding seeing the hidden documents, this top secret classified, and digging into everybody's lives. And this interview tonight will be one of those where, when he tells his story, there may be differing opinions about the what, why, where of it all, because there are all those stories, thousands of them. There are, each of them individualized, have their story that becomes the collective of January 6th. And some have, obviously, their story was before that. These were people. Some had arrest records. Some had, times that they were in jail. But at the essence of it, all of them come together under one banner, except maybe there might be 2 or 3 that, were just, they got mixed in and they don't represent everybody. But the majority just they believed with all their heart, we are protecting our country. They're stealing the presidency, and they were protesting that. And we know, I don't need to go in. We're going to talk about that tonight, about, going in. Some did, some didn't. Some were more engaged with people, others were not. And we'll let him tell his story. I don't want to get too deep into it. We'll give you all that tonight. Just tune in at 6 o'clock tonight on the Wolf Nation Network, on all channels that we air live on, which would be Facebook, YouTube, X, Kick, Twitch, LinkedIn is one of those that we go to, Instagram, um Rumble, two channels. We'll probably do. Well, actually, we do a double channel on a couple of channels. We have a couple of new ones that's going to be coming online, and obviously our Substack where all shows go. And we may this may be the first one that we do a two-part, a second part of maybe an extension of about 15 or 20 minutes, where we do a round robin of questions about other things, and we're going to put that up behind the Substack, um, just because that gives us something that is unique, and we do all this for for free, and there's a cost to it, and it helps us to raise money if people can become subscribers to the program. But I didn't want to take a minute and explain that. We also have a lady that's going to be coming on next Tuesday. We've talked about her. She's a blessing, local, has a business, has actually two or three businesses, is very patriotic, loves the Lord, dealing with a lot right now. Is very excited to come on, and we're looking forward to having her on next Tuesday. We have a ministry that had to cancel because of a death in the family. They will be back on soon, or not back on, but be on soon. And there are many, many others. We have a new show that we'll be putting together. This is Biscuit Boys venture, and we fully support each other in that. We've got, you know, Dusty and Desi, and we got other things that are cooking, other shows that will be basically made by them. We'll assist and air it and put it on all of our stations. And that's why we're a network. We're not just a podcast. We don't say that with an ego. I first said that, and I love the sound of it. Some people might take that the wrong way. That we're more than a podcast. We're a network. But we really are. We're a collection of podcasts. I struggled for a long time trying to come up with that. And I always explained it to people, and they didn't get it at first. And they would go, "Oh, I see." And it's like an umbrella that has all these different podcasts. There's a ministry side, there's a news side, there's a sports side, there's, author side. We do live things, outdoor side. I mean, we have all these different names, whether it's Wolf Nation, Cornbread Nation, Patriot Nation, and others that we have. That's now gives us, and Wolf Nation is one in itself. The Wolf Nation Network is the descriptor, which shows what we are. And I think it helps people now that they're seeing it. And I love to explain it because people say, I've had people on other lives that go, what do you mean by network? When I explain it, they go, "Oh, I see. Oh, I see." And so we're just trying to really become identified. We're working on some big things. We got a lot to get done, and we're growing and really we're blessed. It's all because of the Lord. It has nothing to do with anything that I'm doing or anybody else, other than just having passion about it and praying over what we're doing. And we're seeing tremendous growth in a lot of ways, and we believe it'll still be that. We're ready to take some next steps, and we're working on that. Bigger and better equipment, being able to just have all the things running, because we have so many different shows and stuff that we need to run, and then the opportunity to outsource to others that may want to use our network. Again, there's that word. We'll be multi-channel in the future. Right now, it's still what we call singular, although we have all these time slots that we can run. But in the future, it'll be a multi-channel, and that network will operate all of those. So it kind of gives you a little bit of indicator where we're thinking and where we're going. Anyway, all right, let's move along. Talked enough. Been off though. Got a lot to tell you. Birthdays today. We'll do a few. Some of these I'm not as familiar with, but the younger crowd might be. Some of them I am. Probably the older ones. Benson Boone, 23, pop singer. McKenna Grace, he was 23 today. 19 is McKenna Grace, 19. Mick Wilkins, 22. It's a TikTok star. You got to throw them things out there. Let's see here. George Michael, who obviously passed away in 2016. This is his birthday. He was born 2 years before me. 1963. Not quite 2 years, because I was May, he was June. So amazing talent. I don't agree with his lifestyle. That's for me, but it was his life, not mine. I'm not his judge. but amazing talent. People may not like you may not like his music, or you may love the music, but an amazing talent. Um, just massively successful in his time. Kate Hudson, 38. Let's see here. Ricky Gervais, 64. Well, he's made a name for himself. And I had a couple more. One more I thought for sure here. Anthony Bourdain. He died in 2018. The chef was born on this day. Sam Ryder, 36, R&B singer. And let's see, Dale Curry, 61, basketball player and father of those Curry brothers. Amazing talent in that family. Wow. It certainly was. I don't know who passed it to Dale, but very, very talented players, athletes. And let's see here. I thought I had one more, maybe not. Make sure I didn't miss anybody that I wanted to. I think that's good. I thought I missed one, but maybe not. It might have been on another day. As we haven't been on, I look back to the previous day, and I might not have. I might have missed that. So there's your birthdays. Let's see here. Let's go over here. One second. One second. Some fun facts on history. I'll do that. I've done it a little bit. I need to get back to it. But some fun facts. Little short things about history without diving too deep in. Um, let's see. In 1889, this was actually yesterday. No, actually, this was yesterday. Yesterday, though, Butch Cassidy committed his first bank robbery with Warner and two McCarty brothers at the San Miguel Valley Bank in Telluride. They steal about $21,000, equivalent to about $735,000 a day. I didn't know that. Wow. They should have been lived good rest of their life. They kept robbing. 1901, first edition by Pablo Picasso. He was 19 years old, opened in Paris. In 1902, Target Corporation, founded by American businessman George Dayton, as Goodfellow Dry Goods, Minneapolis. Goodfellow Dry Goods. A good name. In 1977, Crystal Gale released best-selling album "We Must Believe in Magic," featuring worldwide hit "Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue." First platinum album by a female country music artist. My mom loved that song. She loved Crystal Gale, and I like Crystal Gale, and that is a good song. Um, Country had really been it wasn't as broadcasting really did. It was more regional. I mean, not that nobody hadn't heard of it around the country, but this really was a regional thing. It's become international now. But when you think about it, I mean, everything was Nashville based, emanated all them, through the southern states, and got up into some. But as broadcasts began to get out more, and artists began to get opportunities to tour and all that off of those, and radio obviously drove a lot of that. I mean, obviously when you drive a million album sales, platinum, you're going to get recognized by people that be. In 1999, Christie's Auction House in New York City sold 100 of Eric Clapton's guitars to benefit Crossroads Center Antigua, a drug and alcohol residential rehabilitation facility he co-founded in 1997, raising nearly $4.5 million. Browning, a 1956 Fender Strat used on the original recording of Layla, sells for then record $450,000. Can you imagine having the money to sit and, well, they don't sit, they come in from wherever now. That then they may have been in the auction house or had a representative. But now you can auction, bid in auctions wherever, even live. But 4.5 million for that. Wow. Let's see, one more here. In 2010, the longest match in tennis history, American John Isner defeats Nicholas Mahut, I think, of France at Wimbledon after 11 hours, 5 minutes of play over 3 days. Can you imagine what your legs would feel like? 11 hours and 5 minutes, even over 3 days. I mean, the grind on that would just continue and continue. Think about it. I mean, think of a match being a couple hours, hour and a half, 2 hours. I don't know. It's not. They don't. Sometimes they don't last that. If the match goes really fast, can you imagine 11 hours? That's like multiple matches within a time frame. Amazing. You get it's like the longest baseball game ever played, or something like that. Let's get in the news, and then I want to look at before we run out of time today. I want to start into something I'm going to come back to, and I just some information that was interesting about deportations and what some people were who didn't really get into it for that. For certainly, they didn't even want to get into it. It was deals that were cut after they went to work for an airline, and some of the things they had to say. Just interesting, you know. Take it for what it's worth. It's their story. There's no way to prove it. It's just what they say happens, and many of them are now out of it. But they were kind of misled, and we'll get to that in a minute. Let's go to Newsmax. What I was going to say. One of the things in the news, the president is clashing with Republicans on the SAVE Act. Iran and testy capital stop. Yesterday, he jolted, according to Newsmax, and this is an article by staff, I think. Yeah, I think it's just staff. Jolted Republicans during a fiery appearance at the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday, scrapping a housing bill signing ceremony. I'd heard about this during the day while I was at work. I've been going to work really early, like working 4 a.m. to 12, so that's why my schedule's all messed up from what I normally do. Scrapping a housing bill signing ceremony and clashing behind closed doors with a party rebel who challenged him over the Iran war. Trump had been expected to sign the bipartisan housing affordability package at a high-profile event, giving Republicans a chance to tell action on one of voters' biggest economic concerns ahead of November's midterm elections. But the president abruptly canceled the ceremony 2 hours beforehand, saying he would not sign the bill until Congress passes the Save America Act, his long-sought package of voting restrictions. Today, quote, today's housing news conference and signing is hereby canceled until such time as we pass the desperately needed Save America Act, which I consider to be a national emergency. Trump posted on a Truth Social platform. The election measure will require proof of citizenship to register to vote and photo identification to cast a ballot. Democrats denounced it as an assault on voting rights. The language they use, the assault on voting rights, it's not denying your right unless you're illegal. It's not denying your right. Anybody that's an American, anybody that is allowed to vote, how does that deny your? How's that assault on voting rights? That's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. That's that'd be like somebody saying that they wanted to fly a 747, but they never even flew a plane, and you're saying that would be an assault on their flying rights. I mean, or if you voted or if you flew and you wasn't supposed to. While Trump claims it needed to protect elections, the bill has already stalled in the Senate, where Republican leaders have warned Trump it lacks the support needed to overcome the chamber's rules. Trump, who still regularly repeats his assertion that he won the 2020 election but was denied victory through fraud, kept pressing the issue as he went ahead with a lunch meeting with Senate Republicans. The gathering turned combative. Levitt knows words. Meaning there's some cussing going on. When Trump challenged senators who had voted the previous day to rebuke him over the Iran war. Excuse me. 4 Republicans joined Democrats in adopting a largest symbolic resolution directing Trump to end hostilities with Iran or seek congressional authorization to continue them. Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana later told reporters that Trump asked why any Republican would support the measure. I stood and said, Bill Cassidy saying, you have not told the American people what's going on. I just get the feeling it's like, I know he's the president, but come on, with Barron and all, it has a little bit of that look of the mafia, It reminds me of the old movie. I can't help it, but Armed and Dangerous, John Candy. I'm sorry I have to run this rabbit. He loses his police. It was a bad movie, but it was a great movie. I mean, it was bad but great. Usually, I kind of like that kind of movie a lot. But the imagery of, because I do some security, he loses his job. Him and Eugene Levy, they become security guards. It's the typical, just they're like surrounded by the typical idea of the Barty Five security guard. All these losers, you know, and there's a lot of mobster stuff going on. But they go into their orientation, which we do that. I work with orientation all the time. That's what we do in training. But they go in there and they get to the point where they're going to join the union. Remember that? They bring that. Well, I'm going to show that clip. They bring the two mobsters in. Yes, this is your union representatives. They start talking about the union, how much it's going to cost, and Eugene Levy keeps asking questions like, "Well, that seems a little excessive." I think it was like $9 a week. This is like early '80s or something. Pretty good amount for a check. $9. Was it a week or a month? It was a week. It's been California. I believe is where it's supposed to have been at. I forget exactly what he said, but it sounds a little excessive. You're really going to want to join the union because the benefits that you're going to get. And he asked the question like they're like looking at each other like, yes. Well, what if you don't want to join the union? And every security guard in there looks at him. And he's continuing on of what a great deal it is. And, it's, you're going to want to join. They keep pressing the issue. And then he goes to raise his hand again to say something. They're like, just there's a word in there, paper. And he goes, do you have a pencil or whatever he said? And every guard in there's head went down there signing. The message was clear: sign or you don't get a job, and you might get worse than. I just have that image in my head. That's why I give you that. As he stands in front of Trump, it sounds like one of those where the president's looking around for Barron, like, and you just get an idea. I'm not saying he was there, but you're just getting an idea that he's taking a little tablet, writing down a name, like a nod. You have not told the American people what's going on. It was supposed to last 4 weeks. It's lasted 4 months. Oh, scathing. Our original objectives have not been achieved. And I want to know what's going on, Cassidy said, according to the Hill CNN. It's like, Cassidy lost a primary election in Louisiana in May to a Trump-backed Republican, meaning he's ineligible for re-election in November. So he don't care, he's on the way out. See, after leaving the meeting, Trump still appeared irritated, telling reporters, "I don't like a few people, but that's okay. I think you know." Dude's got more to worry about running for not being able to run for a re-election. The war powers vote came as Trump tries to turn a preliminary agreement with Iran into a final settlement after months of conflict that rattled global energy markets and exposed political rifts even within his own party. As he walked into the lunch with Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Trump ignored questions about whether he would sign the housing bill. Instead, volunteered that the Middle East, quote, war is going very well, that Iran is making very big concessions. The housing bill passed Congress with broad bipartisan support, and that had been promoted by Republicans as a substantive achievement on the hot button issue of affordability. It is aimed at boosting housing supply, easing construction rules, and expanding access to home ownership as high rents, elevated mortgage costs, and a shortage of homes weigh on Americans. Trump has previously backed the package, which offered him a chance to highlight efforts to lower living costs against a backdrop of persistent inflation driven partly by the Iran war. But this is a little flexing by a lot of flexing by the president. He's using this as leverage against those that would because they wanted to champion this at home, obviously. But with the midterms looming, I mean, we're going to see who walks with the biggest wheelbarrow, if you get my drift, because he's walking on against a lot of things. He usually comes out very strong in these. I mean, he really does. He dismissed it as being of minor importance. and said it pales in comparison to passing the Save America Act, which it does in that of defending the country and the votes and everything that's going on, or we lose our country, we lose everything that we have. And then it just becomes who cheats the most. We have to have confidence in this. We have to keep people out of these elections. They're not supposed to be in them. His refusal to sign may be proved largely symbolic under the U.S. Constitution. The bill becomes law after 10 days if the president neither signs or vetoes it while Congress is in session. Last week, Trump also canceled the Senate confirmation hearing. He could veto it. I'm not saying he won't. He's the kind of president that would. He could veto it. He canceled the hearing for the nominee for Director of National Intelligence, saying the election bill should take priority. Supporters say the Save America Act would strengthen election security, but opponents insist fraud is rare. No, it's not rare. And they warn that it would mostly burden minority voters, married women, and others less likely to have access to the required documents. Let me say something. When they change rules, listen, they change rules all the time. They tighten rules up. Remember when they, in our state, Georgia, they tightened the rules up on the driver's licenses at one time. There was a lady in my church. Her husband was still living then. He was a Korean War vet. She had been driving she was in her 70s then. So she's been driving for a good 50 plus years. Well, when they tightened it up, they wanted more paperwork. She ran into a huge problem. One thing she had, no problem. But she was adopted. And somehow or another, she couldn't get a hold of the information at first. And it was a pretty big deal. I mean, she wanted to be able to drive. I can't remember if she had to get a lawyer. It seems like they did, but they got it worked out. And that's the thing. If you want to vote in this country, it's not hard. It is not hard at all. It is so easy versus other things that we do in America, other things that we sign up for. And it's amazing to me the people that will go through all the things they have to do to order things online. Sometimes, they don't mind going through multiple. They might be annoyed, multiple password checks, multiple this, having to, it's almost like they put the eye thing on your eye. You got to give a blood draw, or whatever it is. If they went to the gambling house in one of the gambling areas, they wouldn't have any problem with any requirement to gamble. Not one problem. And believe me, they roll those buses in there and the disabled get off and everything else. In fact, a lot of older people love that. They go and they gamble at different places around the South here, whether it's Cherokee or down at Mississippi and other places, and they love it. I'm not saying everybody does, but you go do what you want to do. If you really want to do it, it's not going to deny people. That's ridiculous, and we know that. So anyway, good grief. Let me get a couple more here, and then I want to bring up this article that I had been talking about. I don't know why that is acting that way. My browser has been acting strange about the way it pulls up pages, and it shows me the arrow back, but then it doesn't give me. Let's see. Also, yesterday, this one got some news as well. The president didn't get his, hasn't still got his Save America Act. Then these federal judges are just rogue. I mean, they're just going at, it seems like every federal judge, except maybe for a couple, have come out really strong against the president. And we know why, and we know who most of them were appointed by. Now, it may not be true in every case, but in most cases it is. And in this case, it's true as well. Federal judge on Wednesday permanently blocked key provisions of President Donald Trump's executive order on elections, including a requirement that individuals provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship when registering to vote. This just baffles my mind. I mean, it absolutely baffles me how we could be this far askew of the law. The ruling landed as Trump appeared to escalate a showdown with Congress, pressing an ultimatum over a major bipartisan housing bill and demanding action on the Save America Act on Capitol Hill. U.S. District Judge Denise Casper, make that name famous. Denise Casper, an appointee of former President, I'll give you one guess. Who? What was that? You got it. Barack Obama ruled that Trump lacked the constitutional authority. I got to stop right there. Oh, this is just making me crazy. Obama himself has been attacking the Constitution most of his life. He believes, like many of the crazy people like him, that is a living document that changes with the times. Meaning, whatever freak action you want to do, whatever thing that that's the culture of today. We got to change to meet it today. No, the Constitution is a bedrock document. Yes, you've made some adjustments to it, some amendments and things. We know that. But we're not here providing you with, they would love to rip it up and just rewrite the whole thing for 2026 is what they would do. It's amazing when they talk about constitutional authority. To impose the requirements through executive action, so they're saying he can't do it. Again, I have problems sometimes with executive action, and I will admit that. But in some cases, it rights a wrong. It stops an action that is needed to stop. The problem is when you get people in who are like President Obama, who use executive action to eviscerate and scathe the landscape against conservatives and Christians and everybody else. That it's just normal people, whatever they don't have to be even I'm just saying normal people. Families. I mean, that's what they come out, and yet they're doing all this stuff back behind the scenes. So I do have a concern with the executive action, and I would include the president. He's become the president, has done it the most. I don't know the numbers yet, but he may not have approached it because doing a 2-term. It's possible. I need to look that up. How many he has had versus others, but he's definitely done that a lot. But under the present powers that be, the way it is, I would say that he does have the right. According to reporting by Newsweek and the Associated Press, Casper said the Constitution gives Congress and the states, not the president, primary authority over federal election rules. Again, though, he's the president of the United States, and that gives him far-reaching power in executive action to protect a right, to protect a steal, to protect fraud. It should, because getting things done through channels takes a long time. In this case, that would be a good use of executive action, because we have failed to follow it up with the proper and right laws. Because it should be. I mean, everybody that's normal knows that you shouldn't have illegals voting in your election. I mean, come on, no matter where they're from. In fact, I was talking to someone who is here on a work visa. Was asking them about that. They've been here for years. They're working towards their citizenship. They're here legally. They're not here illegally. They're here legally. I was talking about going and voting. I'm talking about the voting, and we were talking about that. And she said, I want to become a citizen. I'm working on it. She's very young. She's already got a college degree. She's working on maybe a master's. Not sure yet. And she was talking about that was one of the things, to be able to vote. This is her home. She doesn't want to go back home. She appreciates that heritage. She's went back for visits, and probably will again. But she lives here. She's living in America. She wants to stay here, raise children, or will have children. But don't have children yet. Probably want to raise children, and they're hardworking. They're here legally. Let me stress that, legally. But she realizes that's one of the things I can't do is to vote. People that want to cheat, to go around the system, then that's the problem. I just can't imagine all things we do. We've said this so many times. When you walk into anything, you have to show ID. Just about anything. Why would not be the law of the land? It just kills me. Casper's ruling is the latest in a series of court decisions limiting implementation of the order. Other federal courts have previously blocked portions of the directive, finding that Congress had not delegated such authority to the executive branch. Trump traveled to Capitol Hill on Wednesday to lobby Senate Republicans on the Save America Act. The legislation would require individuals registered to vote in federal elections to provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship, such as a passport, birth certificate, or naturalization papers. Let me stop here also and say there's a lot of Supreme Court decisions, major ones, that's going to be coming down soon. We're going to cover that in the news the next day or so, and talking about those major decisions. It's going to be big, and we're waiting on that. So anyway, there's more to the article, but it just stays there. Nothing happens. We go on with the same problems. As far as a federal deal. Now I'm going to tell you, in my state, you got to come in with some ID. You ain't walking in and registering to vote or whatever. They're looking at that. Some states are better than others. Let me look at another one. There's still the tedious Iran, the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. If it fails, article by James Morley III. Where's my dad? My brain is so spastic this morning. My dad never wanted to be a junior, so I wasn't named. Middle name was different from my dad's. He did that on purpose. He named me after an uncle, a great uncle, an uncle of his, to keep our middle names. He said, I don't want a junior. And I wonder why my dad never thought about just naming me his full name, the second. That way he wouldn't have done the junior. I don't think he thought about it. I could have lived with that. David Cordell, the second. I would have liked that. Energy Secretary Chris Wright said Wednesday that U.S. military escorts of commercial vessels have effectively stripped Iran of its ability to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, the critical global oil transit route. Speaking at the Reuters Global Energy Summit, Wright said Iran has lost its ability to use the strategic waterway as leverage. I wish the CNNs of the world would realize this. They have thrown this up there like they've got an iron gate that is all the way across the water, that there's nobody. Iran can stop them. They're going to charge. They've defeated the Americans. Bull crap. We're traveling up and down through there. Got the party boats going on. We see a drone, we're going to knock it out of the air. Iran will not have the ability to close the Strait of Hormuz going forward, he said. That's their key leverage, and we're taking that leverage away from them. He said commercial shipping has continued through the waterway despite Iran's declaration over the weekend that the strait was closed. They can say it all they want. They can say they're going to charge fees all they want. But if people are streaming by, they're going to be, no, I take the free pass. Thank you, U.S. military, naval operations. We appreciate you. We're traveling. We're going to take the free route. You can become a paying subscriber to Iran's Strait of Hormuz deal, or you can take the free United States of America protected route. $2 million to these terrorists over here, or zero cost thank you to the good old USA. I think I'm signing this deal over here, Iran. I know you made a great offer, pay or die. I mean, sink our ship. You forbid it. You say it's closed, but I see a little route over here to the right. It's a little further away from you. It's safe. It's protected, and it's free. Zero cost other than our fuel. We're going through. We're going to take this. Iran sounds like they want to hold one of those. What is it? You have them in the mountains around here where you go up and they try to sell you a timeshare in a condo, and that you go up. We'll give you free tickets if you come up to our sales pitch. And they hammer you for hours upon hours trying to break you down. And people end up usually cussing them out, and they're just, let me go. They say they'll never do it again. They got their free tickets. They wine and dine you, and some will buy. If they didn't, they never would do it. It's effective. It's the strong arm tactic. I had a friend that went up. His wife wanted to do it. He said, it doesn't bother me what they say. I'm that way. My personality, he said, I don't care. His wife, he said, however, she was having a hard time with it. She was weak. He said, but we walked out of there without paying for nothing. He said, once they realized they couldn't sway us, the niceness went away. They started barking things. He said, just take me back down the mountain. Or see the Iranians bringing you in, by video. You will pay. We have a deal. You pay $2 million. $2 million. Smaller vessel, maybe 1 million. Or we're going to burn you down, you know. And you say, well, is there not another way? No, no, no. There's no other way. You must pay. You must pay. We'll close the strait. Your ship will sit. We'll sink it. We'll board it. We'll do all these things. Really? Really? And you just keep pressing. Well, I think the Americans are, it's free. Are you sure? You need to look that up again. I think we're going to do that. No, we will crush you, you infidels. No, we're going to choose the American way. I see the American flag on the ship ahead of me. We're just gonna ride it like riding tail lights. We're gonna stay out of the ditches and we're gonna get through the strait. That's the way I see this. He went on to say that roughly 72 ships in the last 24 hours and 20 million barrels of oil have flowed through under U.S. naval protection. You think they're singing? They're singing American songs? Yeah, or some kind of song. Anyway, they give some of the same old that's been going on. Rod also downplayed the significance of a 60-day U.S. sanctions waiver on Iranian oil exports, saying Tehran has yet to receive substantial economic benefits. We haven't unfrozen any funds. They haven't gotten anything meaningful yet. They could get meaningful things from us, but they have to deliver meaningful wins for us and security for the world. Here. I clap. I give you my applause. Absolutely. All right, and the time I have left this morning, just a few minutes here, and I won't get through it. There was an article that I wanted to reference a little bit. And this is from a group. Now, you may not like the group, but it's interesting nonetheless, the story. The ProPublica. ProPublica. Anyway, there's an article about deportation flights. And it's titled Inside ICE Air, Flight Attendants on Deportation Planes Say Disaster is, quote, only a matter of time. And there's a reason for that. Because when they deport them, there's some things that they do for the flight. We'll get to that in just a second. We'll give you a big overview of this, and I'm going to dive in deeper. We're going to look at some things about this as in the days ahead. I want to maybe bring it up a few times. They had talked to a lady. I don't know if it's her real name. She doesn't work for this anymore, this group. But there was an airlines called the Global Crossing Airlines or Global Crossing Airlines. They later became, I believe it was Global X, is what it became. I'll see that in a minute. Yeah, she's nicknamed Layla. She's not her real name because a lot of them didn't want to go on record for fear at the time when they did this that they would be fired or whatever. She painted a story of a flight that she had where they were deporting people as a full plane, and there was a young child that got into medical distress. But first, she said that they went to work for. They interviewed several, not just her, and they went to work for this, and they were told that they would be flying. And what's amazing to me is they sound a little starry-eyed. They hooked them in, but what gets me is because what I'm fixing to tell you is they think that this is going to be just fascinating. I'm going to meet famous people. Well, sometimes those can be the jerks of the world because they said that they were told they'd be flying rock bands, sports teams, and sun seekers. Oh, yeah, sun seekers? Wait a minute. Isn't the sun everywhere? What are these people? Sun seekers. I didn't know we had people hidden from the sun. We're coming up. I'm telling you, I'm in a mood today. These people, the way they write. I'm going to come back to that. Sun seekers. I get it. I understand. I'm not stupid. You're going to an area where the sun, it's warm weather. You're going to lay on the beach and, it's kumbaya time or whatever. But sun seekers? We've got people underground. And they've got, they come out with a shade zone. They're shielding their face. We're seeking the sun. That'll preach, Brother Barrett. We're seeking the sun. S-O-N. Amen. Because there's a lot of people spiritually are in darkness, and they should be seeking the sun, but they're not. These are S-U-N, sun seekers. I've never come out and said, I'm looking in the daytime. Maybe at night, see Mr. Moon, as I called him, my granddaughter. I'm looking for, I know it's there. I mean, it's 12 p.m. I mean, I should be seeing the sun. We get cloud cover. sometimes, but it's still daylight. You can still see. You still see in the sun. Sun seekers. I'm sorry. My brain is just jumping all over the place. Anyway, they were told they were going to have these fun flights, and they get to wear these pretty uniforms, and they get to wear a little pretty necktie thing that they got, and but they became what happened is this company got a contract, a federal contract to run federal deportation flights, and I get it on one hand, I get it. A lot of them were probably women. Don't take offense with me. A lot of flight attendants are. And unless you're really geared to that, listen, I don't like dealing with people in chains either. Because what they do is they shackle these people. I mean, their wrists, are shackled together, and then they have shackles to their ankles. I mean, they're shackled. They are fed some sort of food that's brought on. And that's the thing. And that's what I want to get to in this. It's just interesting, this interaction between federal agencies and who's really in charge on the flight. So they're shackled, and it became these flights. And really, the gist of all this, in the end, you don't have to do one dang thing. All you have to do is take care of the guards. And then they were mad about that. Like, we were supposed to be serving those on the plane, but no, we just started serving the guards. They use us like they're maids. Well, aren't you kind of doing that for the people on the flight anyway? Ma'am, can I get another vodka? Kind of thing. Don't they do that? I mean, there's some whininess in this article. I mean, even though the guards, because they told them not to look at them, to look down, not acknowledge them. They said some ignored it, and if someone said "Hola," they would say it back. They said, "We're not jerks." The safety concern was this: flight attendants received training in how to evacuate passengers, but said they weren't told how to usher out detainees whose hands and legs were bound by shackles. So this is kind of an overview or a highlight of it. And again, I don't have time this morning to get deeply into it. But anyway, back to her story. Layla, the deportation flight was in the air over Mexico when chaos erupted in the back of the plane. A flight attendant recalled a little girl had collapsed. She had a high fever and was taking ragged, frantic breaths. The flight attendant, a young woman who went by the name Layla, said she grabbed the plane's emergency oxygen bottle and rushed past rows of migrants chained at the wrists and ankles to reach the girl and her parents. Mother and father were on the flight. But then Layla was accustomed to the hard realities of working charter flights for immigration and customs enforcement, ICE. She had learned to obey instructions not to look the passengers in the eyes, not to greet them or ask about their well-being, but until the girl collapsed, Layla had managed to escape any emergencies. She worked for this group called Global Crossing Airlines, which later became Global X. And 2 weeks ago, it helped. This company was using them, or this airlines, to fly hundreds of Venezuelans to El Salvador, despite they say, again, you got to understand how their direction are coming from. A federal order on blocking deportation sees it still happening. So even from this side, or liberal side, you're hearing, because I think this is maybe a liberal thing, but it's got some interesting things in it. That's why I want to share it. Anyway, they fear it's going to become a full-blown constitutional crisis. Anyway, they go through some things about all these migrants and things. But I wanted to get to, so anyway, the girl's oxygen level, saturation level was 70%. Low compared with a healthy person's 95 or higher. That is low. Her temperature was 102.3. The flight had a nurse on contract who worked alongside its security guards. But beyond giving the girl Tylenol, the nurse left the situation in Layla's hands. She recalled. So basically, she was lazy and didn't want to do anything else beyond that, according to this flight attendant. She broke the rule about talking to the detainees. The parents told Layla their daughter had a history of asthma. The mom, who Layla had said had epilepsy, seemed on the verge of her own medical crisis. Layla placed the oxygen mask on the girl's face. The nurse removed her socks to keep her from further overheating. Layla counted down the minutes, praying for the girl to keep breathing. I'm going to skip down this article because I'm going to give you the end of that because I only have time to go through all this. I'm going to come back to it because here at the end of it, they tell what happened here on the. And she doesn't know the end result, by the way. I will tell you that. Let me come back to the Layla story. It's quite a lengthy story, actually. It's good. I mean, it's a good article, no doubt. So the day that the girl collapsed on Layla's flight, the pilot turned the plane around and they crossed back into the United States. The flight landed in Arizona. Paramedics rushed on board and connected the girl to their oxygen bottle. They began shuttling her off the plane. Her parents tried to join, but the guards stopped the father. Shocked, Layla approached the house officer in charge. "This is not okay," she yelled. The mom had seizures. The family needed to stay together. Again, they got rules. But the officer said it was impossible. Only one parent could go to the hospital. The other, as Layla understood it, was going to get deported. And not uncommon, and of course they're going to jump all over that. So anyway, for that was her. She left the company, and she never knew what happened to the girl or whether she lived or died. I suspect she lived. I think that would have probably got into a story somewhere if she had died. Layla just watched her mom follow her off the plane, then watched the dad return to his seat. I cried after that, then brought her own ticket home. Again, you can't. I mean, this is not. It's like working in prison. This is not easy stuff. There are things you're not going to like. You got to be. And she went into, oh, we're going to see rock stars, to seeing migrant detainees or illegals. They said migrant illegals. But there are many things in this, and they bring up a good point. And I'm going to save it for tomorrow to continue the discussion. And among those points is the safety concern. Now, we still have they have to provide security. We're going to look at the rules of what is written about this. I didn't know the rules. I'm going to look that up. And we're going to talk about one thing that they use and guidance that could be an issue, and also their training of what they're trained to do in a case of like any plane versus what they're told versus these deported illegals. So anyway, it's an interesting story. If you want to see that, read it yourself. ProPublica. I'm on their mailing list, and I just like the article. It had some interesting things in it, and I wanted to explore that. So anyway, that's the show this morning. Happy Thursday. Tonight, remember, we're going to have a J6er on, a true J6er. What I mean by that, there's some people maybe try to claim they are. I was there that day. There were a lot of people there that's they were never really involved in what become the end of the day. And they didn't get arrested. They didn't get in trouble. They might have been there that day, but they weren't there for this guy was. And he did spend time in prison. In fact, he was given 7 years, if I remember right. And he was pardoned by the president. I want to let him tell his story again tonight. We'll talk about that. Take care, and we'll see you tonight.